Dragon Pokemon are rare and powerful creatures, but their early forms leave a lot to be desired. Furthermore, Generation 6 introduced the Fairy type, which cripples Dragon Pokemon. With this in mind, I decided to try a Hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Y with only Dragon types. Here's how it went. The full Hardcore Nuzlocke rules will be in the description, but the headline is that if a Pokemon faints, it's gone for good and can never be used again. Most Nuzlocke challenges will start right at the beginning of the game, but this one is a little different since I can't actually obtain a Dragon Pokemon until after the first gym. So, after delivering an important letter to our mother, let's skip ahead. While we're light speeding through the early game, do me a favour, like the video and then subscribe to the channel. Also, in the comments, let me know who your favourite Dragon type is. Mine is Salamence. After a bit of a grind, I'd finally made it to the connecting cave where I can catch my first dragon. After a really long hunt, I was able to find and catch an Axew that I nicknamed Fafnir. I have a nickname theme for this run, so if you can guess what it is, let me know in the comments. It took a really long time to get my first dragon, but it won't take long to get a few more. Just outside the connecting cave on Route 8, I'm able to find Wyvern the Bagon. It has a calm nature though, which is really awful for a physical attacker, but I'll have to make do. After clearing the glittering cave, I'm given a Jaw fossil. I can immediately revive it into a Tyrunt, which is a rock and dragon Pokemon, an awesome typing. Unfortunately, mine has a modest nature, which is pretty much as bad as it gets. A short time later, I'd reached Silage City for the very first gym battle of this challenge. Grant uses rock-type Pokemon, but the real threat on his team is Amora. It's an ice type, and Aurora Beam can do some serious damage to my team. Fortunately, my Axew has a plus attack nature and great attack IVs, which opens up a good way of dealing with Amora. After doing a ton of super training, I can max Axew's attack EVs and teach it the move Rock Smash. This hits Amora for 4 times damage and is just guaranteed to knock it out in one shot. Grant's last Pokemon is Tyrunt, but 2 more Rock Smashes give me the second badge. That strategy was only possible thanks to Axew's awesome stats, but the luck definitely balanced out with the poor natures on my other Pokemon. With that taken care of, I slide on down out of Grant's gym before proceeding through Route 10 and onwards to Geosenge Town. Once here, I'll need to take on Karina, who uses 2 Lucario, and these guys are deadly. If they set up a Swords Dance, I'll be in crit range, which is way too risky. I do have a plan to get around this though. First, I'll need to make sure that I can outspeed the Lucario, so once again, I head to Super Train my Axew and buff its speed EVs. After a little more grinding, I was ready for Karina, and Axew should outspeed. Okay, so it turns out that these Lucario have a plus speed nature, which I didn't account for when I was planning. Fortunately, the AI didn't go for Swords Dance and I wasn't crit, so it all worked out in the end with a few Dragon Rages giving me the win, but that mistake could have ended the run right there. I then quickly moved through Route 11 and the Reflection Cave while avoiding as many battles as possible before reaching Shallow City. Here I can buy the TMs for Dig and Poison Jab, and this scientist gives me an Eviolite, which will be a huge help since most dragons don't reach their final evolution until quite late. Speaking of evolution, once Bagon reached level 30, it evolved into a Shelgon. I then head into the Tower of Mastery, where I'll need to take on Serena. This battle is not easy, as her team has a few hazards like Disarming Voice on Meowstic and a cheesy Absol set. I lead with Shelgon, and Protect on turn 1 to nullify the Fake Out. Shelgon's bulk, plus its Eviolite, lets me comfortably tank Meowstic's attacks, allowing me to raise my attack to +2 with Hone Claws. I can then take Meowstic down with 1 Shadow Claw. Absol is next, but a boosted return finishes it off in one shot. Last is Quillidan, but I know that I can tank a crit, so stay in with Shelgon and do big damage with return. Once I am in crit range, a safe switch into Axew, followed by a Poison Jab, can give me the win. With that, I'm now clear to take on Karina's fighting type gym. The plan for this gym is pretty simple. At level 32, Axew learns Dragon Dance. By giving it the Eviolite, Axew will always survive a Fake Out and 2 power-up punches, regardless of if it crits or not. This lets me set up 2 Dragon Dances, and from here, Axew can cleanly sweep through Karina's team with some boosted Dragon Claws. Not so tough without your Lucario, are you, Karina? Back to the Tower of Mastery, and I'm forced to use a non-Dragon type. Yuck. It's only for one turn though, as the traitorous Lucario who teamed up with me buries Karina's in one turn. That's 3 back-to-back L's for Karina. Now please leave me alone. Lucario wants to join my team, but I spit in its face. Filthy non-dragon type, get out of my sight. Once on Route 12, I can go all Red Dead Redemption and take my noble steed for a ride. This formation intimidates the trainers on the route, and none of them even dare to try and stop me. This allows me to quickly reach Coumarine City, where I can grab a bunch of TMs and some useful items before being re-challenged by Serena. Her team is the same as last time though, as is my strategy. It doesn't go quite as smooth this time, as Meowstic landed a crit onto Shelgon. This means that Shelgon won't be able to remove Absol, so I switched into Tyrunt and used Charm to lower its attack. This gives me a safe switch into Axew, and after one Dragon Dance, Serena's last two Pokemon fall in quick succession. After swinging through this literal jungle gym, it's time to take on Ramos. Honestly, he's just an old man who likes to garden, and that's way too wholesome for me to lay any disrespect on him, even though I am tempted. The strategy here is pretty simple. Axew can withstand a critical hit from Jumpluff, so I'm free to set up a Dragon Dance. I'm now faster than Jumpluff and can take it down with one boosted Poison Jab, as well as the Go-Goat that follows. Last is Weepinbell, but as it has an atrocious defense stat, one Dragon Claw can give me the win and the 4th badge. I am so glad that we have Axew. Whee! On to Route 13, where I'm finally able to get another encounter, Guiva the Gibble. I've caught it just in time, as its secondary ground type will be really helpful for the next gym. It evolved into Gabite shortly after, but let me tell you, I hate this route. Why are there so many Pokemon here? Team Flare have taken over the power plant, and the staff are not handling things well. This guy is just staring at a wall and thinks he's stuck, and this guy is trying to monetize the water. This is a hostage situation. Stop monetizing the essentials. The power plant has been invaded by a comical number of Team Flare grunts. This is so painful. None of these battles are overly challenging, so after quickly saving the day, it's time to head back to Lumio City for the next gym challenge. The puzzle for this gym brings back everyone's favorite game.
Who's that Pokemon?
Although, these nerds never stood a chance as they're dealing with a certified Pokemon tragic. Clemont the gym leader uses electric types, and you can probably guess who we'll be relying on for this gym. That's right, Axew. While Gabite is immune to electric attacks, I've got a pretty safe strategy with Axew. On turn 1, I set up a Dragon Dance, allowing me to outspeed all of Clemont's team. The attack boost also means that Emolga will fall to 1 Rock Tomb. It's important that I don't use a contact move here, as I don't want to risk triggering Emolga's static ability. Rock Tomb does have a 5% chance to miss, but Axew is holding the Eviolite to give it multiple chances to land one if need be. Magneton is problematic due to its sturdy ability, but Axew's Mold Breaker ability lets me bypass this, and one dig takes it down. Last is Heliolisk, but since I'm faster, one boosted dig gives me a pretty safe win over Clemont. The gym leader being a child does cheapen the win a little bit, but regardless, that's the 5th badge. We then catch up with Lysandre, who either uses a whole tub of hair gel, or spends his recreational time staring down a wind tunnel. After he's finished rambling, I then head over to Route 14 to catch up with our pals. I've got some big fights coming up, so I leveled my team a bit, which allowed Axew to evolve into Fraxure, and Tyrunt into Tyrantrum. This gave my team a huge power boost heading into the rematch with Serena, and it was very smooth this time around. After one Dragon Dance from Fraxure, Serena's team crumbled within a few turns. But a short time later, I stumbled across this spooky house, and what I saw was truly horrifying. Ah! Route 14 also gives me another encounter, and after a short hunt, I was able to find a Goomy, who evolved into a Sliggoo a short time later. This is an awesome addition, as Sliggoo is a special attacker with substantial special defense, something that the rest of my team is sorely missing. This brings me to Laver City in search of the next gym badge. This gym specializes in fairy types, and that should send a shiver down the spine of any dragon type trainer. Valerie's fairy Pokemon will be immune to dragon attacks, which at a surface level makes her really threatening. But her lead has no fairy type moves. I have no idea why that's the case, but you can guarantee that I intend to exploit that. After setting up a Dragon Dance, Valerie's Mawile just survives a dig due to its stat boost from Iron Defense. I know that she's going to heal, so I use this opportunity to set up a second Dragon Dance before finishing Mawile with my next dig. While her last two Pokemon do have some fairy type moves, by now Fraxure is too fast and powerful for Valerie to handle. 2 Poison Jabs from Fraxure is all that's required to give me the win over what should have been a tough opponent. Regardless, we take those. Our gang decided to take a tour of the Pokeball factory, but oh no, Team Flare stole all of the Pokeballs, every last one of them, apparently. A short trip through Route 15 brings me to Dendermill Town. I'll need to clear the Frost Cavern to the north, which has some seriously strong trainers and Ice-type Pokemon, so I make sure to dodge the optional battles and stock up on repels. After wiping the floor with Team Flare once more, this clears me to hitch a ride on the back of Mamoswine through Route 17 before arriving at Anastar City. It's here that I can grab a bunch of useful TMs like Flamethrower and Substitute. Serena challenges me to another rematch, and while she now does have a Vaporeon, her team is largely unchanged. My plan is to lead Sliggoo, who I've given the Eviolite, as well as some special defense EVs to increase its bulk. This lets me handle everything that Meowstic can throw at me, while reducing its special attack to -6 with Confide. A switch into Fraxior lets me safely set up 2 Dragon Dancers before promptly sweeping the rest of Serena's team with Dragon Claw and Poison Jab. Sliggoo is already paying dividends as a special wall, and I expect it to do the same in the Anistar gym, which is by far the coolest looking gym in the whole game. The level cap is now 48, and this is an important number for Dragon types, as it's at this level that Fraxior evolves into Haxorus, and Gabite evolves into Garchomp, which also learns Crunch. The gym leader Olympia looks intimidating, but her team, not so much. Her leader's a Sigilyph who can set up screens, as well as use some special moves. I take advantage of this by using Sliggoo in a similar manner to the last battle, lowering Sigilyph to -6 special attack. This completely clears Garchomp to switch in, and max its attack with a slew of Swords Dancers. From there, even through Reflect, Garchomp crunches down onto Olympia's team like a shark hunting its prey. It's a very quick sweep, and that gives me the penultimate badge. Lysandre calls, but I can't hear him over the sound of the wind tunnel blowing his hair back. Supposedly, I'll need to head over to the Team Flare headquarters to put a stop to their awful fashion sense. Like, come on, who looked at this and said, yes, this looks perfect? We've got some tough battles coming up, but the increased level cap allows me to evolve Sliggoo into Goodra. Shelgon also evolves into Salamence. It had a shell, but now, shell gone. Since Salamence can fly, I decided to backtrack to Silage City, where I can fish up my next encounter, Skrelp. Once it evolves into Dragalge, it now has a really cool poison and dragon typing. For the first time in the run, we had a full team of 6 Pokemon, and there are some powerful dragons in our arsenal. It was now time to put a stop to Team Flare and their crimes against fashion, but man, this portion of the game has way too many battles. It's like insane. Who's cutting onions around here? Why am I crying in the club right now? Oh, the red button activates the ultimate weapon? Hell yeah, let's see some fireworks. I'll just slow you down, right? After a gauntlet of Team Flare battles, I come up against the final boss. 4 more Team Flare battles. Please, make it stop. Yveltal emerges, and the game forces me to catch it, but I won't be able to use it since it's not a dragon. Just when you think it's all over, Inspector Gadget himself, Lysandre, returns for a 3rd battle within the hour. How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
Against Lysandre, I lead with Salamence to lower Mienshau's attack with Intimidate, followed by Fly. Since I'm in the sky, High Jump Kick misses and Mienshao takes big damage before Fly finishes it off on the next turn. Next is Pyro, and it only knows special moves, so I switch into my bulky Goodra and begin lowering its special attack with Confide. I can get it to -5, but Pyro lands a crit, so I'll need to switch once more and go into Haxorus. After 2 Swords Dancers, the rest of the fight is a very clean sweep, giving me the win. With that, the run had been saved from the curse of infinite Team Flare fights, and I was now free to chase down the last gym badge. Heading south from Anistar City brings me to Terminus Cave, where I can pick up the Brick Break TM, as well as eventually find a Noibat. It'll be sidelined to the PC for now, but maybe it'll come in handy later on. Once I reach Kuruway Town, Professor Sycamore challenges me to a battle, but Haxorus quickly swept him into the ground like the filthy Gen 1er that he is. On to Route 19, where I find some Yachi berries, which will be really useful for the next gym. Just before I can move on, Shauna, Tiano, and Trevor ambush me for 3 consecutive battles. Their collective Pokemon are diverse, but nothing that my dragons can't handle, and I send them back to the background where their characters belong. Once arriving in Snowbell City, I'll need to go up against Wulfric's Ice types to try and earn the final badge. Ice is super effective against my dragons, but I've got a plan to melt them down. See, each of Wulfric's Pokemon have a defensive weakness, and I intend to exploit these. First up is Abomasnow. Its Ice and Grass typing makes it 4 times weak to fire, so I lead with Salamence and take it down with Flamethrower. Cryogonal is next, but its physical defense is appalling. Seriously, you could throw a pebble at it and pick up the KO. Anyway, a Brick Break from Salamence gets the job done. Last is Avalugg, who is a tank on the physical side, but pretty moderate when it comes to special defense. Salamence has just enough special attack EVs and is holding the Expert Belt, such that 1 Flamethrower is sufficient to pick up the KO. That's the final badge, and still without any deaths. So far, so good. I'm now bound for the Pokemon League, but have a few stops to make along the way. First is Route 21, and I've got the choice of either looking in the grass for Altaria or fishing for a Dratini. But I just couldn't say no to Dratini, and after a ton of fishing, I eventually found one. I subbed it into the team for Dragalge, and a short time later, Dratini evolved into Dragonair, and then Dragonite. It's got some great coverage and will be an awesome addition to the team. Next up is Route 22, where I'm able to grab the Earthquake TM before heading into Victory Road. There are some tough trainers here, but I avoid as many battles as possible and safely make it to this clearing where Serena challenges me to a final showdown. She's made some changes to her team since we last saw her, but none of these are too significant and I can run a similar strategy to our previous fights. I lead with Goodra against Meowstic and begin lowering its special attack with Confide. The combination of Leftovers and Protect helps to keep my HP steady, allowing me to nerf Meowstic to -6. This clears a path for Haxorus to switch in and buff its stats with Swords Dance before sweeping through Serena's team in what is a very familiar looking sight. You think she would have learned not to lead with Meowstic by now. The rest of Victory Road is clean, finally bringing me to the Pokemon League, and after some preparation, my Dragons are ready to assert their dominance on the grandest stage of them all. I can tackle the Elite Four in any order, so I'll be kicking things off against Druzna. She also uses Dragon types, but is about to learn why I'm the best Dragon trainer in all of Kalos. Haxorus is an offensive demigod. Combine this with some speed EVs, and it can outspeed all of Drazna's team and land some devastatingly powerful Dragon Claws to pick up a very quick win. You call yourself a Dragon trainer? Pathetic. Next up is Wikstrom and his Steel-type Pokemon. His Klefki lead is also a Fairy type that knows Dazzling Gleam, which will KO Haxorus with a crit. However, I outspeed and can take it down with an Earthquake. It did move first thanks to its Prankster ability, but that only applies to status moves, so I was completely safe. Next is Provopass, who has the Sturdy ability, but as we saw earlier in the video, Haxorus' Mold Breaker nullifies this, and one 4x effective Earthquake picks up the KO. Wikstrom goes with Aegislash, and I correctly predicted the turn 1 King Shield, and used this opportunity to set up a Dragon Dance. Knowing that it won't King Shield again, I use Protect, which baits out a stance change from Aegislash into its Blade form. With Aegislash now exposed, an Earthquake on the next turn sends it packing. Last is Caesar, which isn't too threatening, and it too falls within a few turns. Not bad. The Fire-type user Malva is next, but the Haxorus domination continues. After a Swords Dance against Pyro to boost my attack, I know that I'll just outspeed her fastest Pokemon, and am clear to sweep through her team with a combination of Earthquake and Dragon Claw. Blink and you'll miss it, it was over in a flash. Last is Seabold, and I've saved the hardest for last. Across his team, Seabold has Dragon, Ice, and Fairy moves, making this fight pretty intimidating. His lead is a Clawitzer who knows Dragon Pulse and has the Mega Launcher ability. That combo is deadly, so I go with my special tank, Goodra. My plan is to alternate between Confide and Protect, which achieves 3 things. First, Confide lowers Clawitzer's offense. Second, Protect buys me extra turns to recover health from leftovers. And finally, this also stalls out the Dragon Pulse PP. As such, after a short time, Clawitzer is at -6 and has no overly threatening moves left. This lets me comfortably switch into my Expert Belt Dragonite before setting up 3 Dragon Dances. With this attack and speed boost, Dragonite then puts on its boxing gloves and lands a string of Thunder Punches to cleanly sweep through the rest of Seabold's team. A very clean knockout. Only one final battle against champion Diantha remained. This would be the final hurdle for my Dragons to overcome. Diantha leads with a physical attacker, Hawlucha. In response, I go with Tyrantrum, who has a huge defense stat. Hawlucha tries to raise its attack with Swords Dance, but I continue to use Charm, which brings us back to square one. For a few turns, we repeat this cycle until Hawlucha switches to Flying Press. The damage is minimal, and Leftovers helps me to recover. Eventually, I bring Hawlucha to -6 and set up Stealth Rocks just to be safe. Then it's time to switch into Garchomp and begin raising my own attack with Swords Dance. Hawlucha can barely touch me, and once I'm at +6, with my huge speed stat, Garchomp can smell blood in the water. Hawlucha goes down to Dragon Claw, followed by Aurorus to Earthquake. Goodra suffers the same fate, as does Tyrantrum, and as does Gourgeist. Mega Gardevoir is last, but I've included Poison Jab in my moveset just for her, taking it down with one powerful jab. With Diantha defeated, I'd conquered a Hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Y with only Dragon types and without a single death. The early game was really challenging, but once my team got rolling, we were unstoppable. Before you leave, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and leave a like on the video. It's completely free, but it really helps me out. For more Pokemon challenges just like this, give this next video a try. As always, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.